This lesson we will continue to divide multi-digit numbers, and the difference between today and yesterday is that we're going to be having two-digit divisors. And I drew a little picture here just to make sure you know what I'm talking about. The number that goes into the other number, this is the divisor. The number in the house is called the dividend, and your answer is called the quotient. So we did one-digit divisors yesterday, and that's another example of this right here. Today we're going to look at when we have a two-digit number outside here. And it's a little bit more complicated, but not too bad. Still the process is the same. So what I'd like you to do is turn the page and take a look at the Do Now. So check these problems out. These are a review of the kind of problems that we did yesterday. So pause the video for a little bit, work out these problems, and then check back and see if you got the right answers. All right, check out these answers. Note they each have remainders, so the number doesn't go into any of these evenly. There's a little bit left over, and that's okay. Sometimes you will have a remainder. So let's look at some problems now where the divisor is two digits. I'm going to do one example for you, and then I want you to try one, and we will see how it goes. So let's set up this first problem. We have 30. That's my divisor going into 7, 2, 3, 0. Now, my job here is to look at this whole number of 30 and find out what it can go into. So I know that it can't go into 7 because it's too small. But can it go into 72? So my first number is going to go in this position, and I have to figure out how many times can 30 go into 72. Well, 2 times 30 is 60. That seems to be okay. But can I go higher than that? 3 times 30 is 90. That's going to be too big for 72. So I know that 30 can go into 72 at most 2 times. So I multiply. 2 times 30 is 60. I do my normal subtraction. 7 minus 6 is 1. 2 minus 0 is 2. And this is good because 30 cannot go into 12. It's too small. So I bring my next number down, and I ask the same question. How many times can 30 go into 123? And again, it's harder to think of these bigger numbers, but I think you can do this. So 30 times 3 is 90. That's smaller than this. 30 times 4 is 120. That sounds pretty good. We're just a little bit below that. And 30 times 5 is 150. That's going to be too high. So I know that I can put 4 in this space. I'm going to multiply the 4 times the 30 and get 120. I'm going to subtract that and get 3. And of course 30 can't go into 3, so I'm going to bring down the 0. And then of course I'm asking how many times does 30 go into 30? That's the easy step, right? Of course that's 1 time. And I multiply 1 times 30 to get 30, and there is no remainder. So the big difference is I'm trying to figure out how a larger number goes into some large numbers, and that's probably the hardest part about this. Possibly a calculator could help you play with that a little bit, but I think you should try to do this without the calculator as much as possible. And sometimes you have to play with the numbers. You know, you're not going to automatically know you're going to have to try something. For example, when I looked for 30 and 72, I tried 1, that was okay. I tried 2, that seemed pretty good. Then I tried 3, and that was too big. So you keep trying different numbers until you find the one that makes this work. All right, so I'm going to have you try the next one. So pause the video and try this one, and I'll give you some little time to do that. Come back and see how it goes. All right, here's the answer to this problem. Let's take a look at some of the pieces of this. So first I had to figure out how many times 16 went into 49. So I went with 3 because I knew 3 times 16 was 48. That's perfect. I just left with 1. I bring down the 3, but notice 16 can't go into 13. It's too small. So I put a 0 in that position. Then I bring down the next number, and now I have to figure out how many times 16 goes into 132. And I had to play around with that. I had to try some different numbers to make that work. Eventually, I determined that 8 times 16 was 128, which was just under 132, and I get a remainder of 4. All right. So now I'd like you to continue to practice some problems here, and let me know how it goes. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will give you the answers to these after you've tried them. So look at these 3 problems. Pause the video for a little bit, work these problems out, and then come on back and see how you did. All right, check these answers out and see how you did. Again, these are pretty long, and it takes some time to figure it out. But if you got different answers or not sure how I got mine, I can come and give you a hand. So you might want to pause the video for a second to look through this more closely. And then when you're ready to move on, let's check out the next page. So I wanted to look at one word problem, and that involves division. So take a look at this problem. A room has an area of 600 square feet and a length of 24 feet. What is the width? Now you may remember that length times width equals the area. Length times width, whatever that might be, equals the full area. But if I'm given the area and the length, I have to divide to find the width. So I have to do 600 divided by 24 in order to get the length. So let's go ahead and do that. This shouldn't be too bad. I have 24, and in the house we have 600. And let's quickly do this. 24, let's see, 3 will be too many. I think it's only 2 we can do. 2 times 24 is 48. 10 minus 8 is 2. Borrow the 1. 5 minus 4 is 1. So 24 can't go into 12, so I bring a 0 down. And then 24 goes into 120. How many times? I believe that is 5. 5 times 24, 5 times 4 is 20, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Yep. So it actually goes into it evenly. So we know that if the area is 600 square feet and the length is 24, that our width is going to be 25. And that's in feet. All right, so I'd like you to try this next problem, but let's talk about it just a little bit. The university needs to transport 1,067 fans from the stadium parking lot to the football field. if a van holds 18 people, how many fans will be in the partially full van? And what they're talking about is they're going to put 18 in a van, take them to the game, come back, get 18 more, put them in the game, come back and get 18 more, take them to the game, come back and get 18 more, and take them to the game. And eventually, they're going to find that there's only so many people left. And that's really going to be the remainder. So what they're asking for that last trip, how many fans will there be? And assuming that there's a remainder, that's what the answer to this problem will be. So you're really doing a division problem and looking for the remainder. That's how many will be in that final van. So I'm going to set it up for you, but I'm going to have you do the work. So this is 18 into 1067. So go ahead and pause the video and finish this problem out and let me know how it goes, and you can check your answer in a little bit. All right, check out this answer. Once you do the division, you see that there is a remainder of 5. So in that final run of the van, there's going to be 5 people left over, and that's how many people will be in that last partially full van. And then they will have all the fans at the game. All right, so what I'd like you to do now is continue working on the additional practice problems that are in this packet. And if you happen to finish those, you can get started on the homework on the final page. Let me know if you have any questions.